Okay, so today we have Elie Younan, founder and CEO of the Financial Primes. Hello, Elie. Hope all is good.
Hello, all is well. Thank you, Jean, for having me here today.
Amazing,
It's
man.
a great opportunity to actually share this with everyone, to actually communicate together about the whole thing, especially in Lebanon. So great to be here, Jean. Thank you.
Yeah, good to have you here, man. Look, so to get straight into it, maybe 5 years
Yeah,
ago, we got this thing called the Forex hype. So
yeah,
I don't know if it's because of my age, but I just discovered about it 3, 4 years ago, and everyone started talking about it and how to get into it and how it gets money, and we see small businesses opening and people just trying to upload content. Okay, the Forex market is that and this and does that. And just like now, we have this hype around cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. It was almost the same thing with Forex few years ago. And you have some
mhm,
just you can count them on your finger, the top players in the market in this field. So whether communities, businesses, or advisors, or whatever. So in a brief 1 or 2 minutes, what actually is the Forex market?
sure. Um, well, basically, um, the the whole forex market is a very old market, right? We're talking about $6.6 trillion of volume per day.
Yeah,
So it's technically something very, very big in terms of volume. In terms of Zabadak, if you look into it, it's not actually hype. It's a Bitcoin is a hype, right?
yeah,
Cryptos are a hype. But the forex market is a very old market, like any market. It's a decentralized one where you don't have anything centralized. So basically, it's different than the stock market where you have a centralized system followed by centralized. يعني centralized, it means that whenever everything goes through one center, right? So
yeah,
prices
yeah,
are different. So if you buy euro from a broker, it's a different price than a second broker or so. So basically, uh, it's very flexible given it's decentralized. So a lot of conditions can be applied in each broker's condition paper. So basically, if you go through a broker, he has his or her own conditions, and another broker, they offer different conditions. So given it's a decentralized system, it's very flexible. Similar if you go to the black market to exchange currencies.
yeah,
Basically, the word forex, foreign exchange, right? So
yeah.
it's all about exchanging foreign currencies and currencies for that matter, currency pairs.
Yeah. So do you actually, I don't know if it's a misconception or for people who are not into Forex,
Mm.
but whenever they talk about it, they bring up the topic, you have these two sides of things. So it's either, oh no, it's like poker and you're gonna gamble money and you're gonna lose your money. And the other side, okay, you can make money, but you have to stay in front of the screen 20 hours a day to make $10. Why is there this misconception about things? Why do people are still skeptical about something that, as you said, is very old? And maybe it is new in Lebanon, recently introduced in Lebanon. People are more getting into it from Lebanon. But why do people still have this misconception about it either being just like gambling, where you just go and put your money in whatever the case is, or that you should stick to the screen and trade every second and become addicted to this thing?
Sure. Well, given the biggest department in the primes, it is private wealth management. So
Yeah,
basically, we really work closely with high net worth individuals who are willing to invest their money somewhere, right? We face this problem a lot, given that they see forex as a gamble or as a twist or as a short term money or so, and I don't blame them because the culture within forex is very marketed the wrong way.
yeah,
So technically, marketing is a very strong influence, right? So basically, whatever you take in markets, whether it's stocks, bonds, forex, you name it, you can take it as a gamble, as a day trade, or as a monthly trades. So whatever you trade, the instrument doesn't matter. It's the technique that matters the most. And of course, every instrument has its own technique, has its own approach. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, Forex is the it's very accessible to everyone. So technically, if you want to market it, you can market it easier than anything else. So it's very simplistic in a way, and plus you have people who try to market it as if you can actually trade it based on politics and the news, right? So like for example, something goes on in a certain country or so, people rush in and they try to trade the currency accordingly, which is technically wrong, because the market is a big, dynamic, ever-changing robotic system that
Yeah.
doesn't give or take, that doesn't react to rationale. But unfortunately, the forex market is marketed the wrong way. And I've been here around 8, 9 years. I've seen how people lose their money and they gamble away their money because they don't have a certain strategy to apply. I bet that most of them, they have never even tested what they're doing, which is extremely wrong. You should always backtest. They don't have the right mindset. So the right mindset, whenever you're dealing with money, it is very crucial. Given forex or given stocks or anything for that matter, if you want to actually trade or invest in anything, you should have these two. If you don't have the right mindset, you will gamble your money, whether it's in forex or in stocks. So it's not about forex with gambling; it's about the whole capital markets and its gamble side.
Yeah.
People gamble their money away because they are driven by their emotions, right? Which is completely normal, but they don't have ways to mitigate their emotions rather than managing them and mitigate them with risk management, using techniques, using backtesting, using confidence. So basically, they don't have any of those. That's the big problem. So whenever you have a lack in your technique or a lack in your mindset, you will definitely fall into the gamble side of the market.
Yeah, this is true actually. For example, when someone goes into a certain trade or puts their money somewhere, not necessarily forex, and the slightest of thing happens, and they're like, "Oh no, I'm gonna get out, sell everything," and then everything goes back up because this short-term fear factor or the short-term lack of control over their emotions can make someone lose all their money, and this person will go on and spread the culture of forex being a gambling market and look, I lost all my money, don't go in, and so on.
Exactly.
So and I think
Exactly.
that here comes your community or the financial primes, right? To maybe uh, set in the right culture for forex and raise the right awareness and actually show it as it is, not try to market it in another way or make it seem as something that it isn't.
Yeah, sure. Basically, whenever within the community, we actually promote investing in stocks.
Yeah,
So basically, not only facts, investing in stocks is a very good thing, but like any other thing in life, you should know what you're doing. If you
definitely.
don't know what you're doing, so basically, whether it's FX or stocks, again, personally, I perceive them as the same thing, right? But of course, different approach, different technique, but it's the same thing. You need to actually possess the technique, you need to test that technique, and you need to actually implement it with the right mindset. That's what it's all about. If you don't have the right mindset, for example, if you don't have most losing trades come due out of fear, maybe fear of missing out on the move, or maybe the fear of actually, or maybe the revenge trade, right, which is well known for me for actually getting back on your losses, maybe
Yeah.
because you felt as if it's personal with the markets,
Yeah.
whereas the markets are really random. They don't foresee anyone. You see, psychologically we are built in a way to give and take, right? Since we're born, we deal with humans, we deal with people who give and take, right? There's always a way to negotiate in your back mind. But whenever you're dealing with the markets, there are none. It could literally blow you off of your
Yeah.
of your assets, right? You've seen people lose their houses because they don't realize that the markets don't feel anything towards you. They don't react towards you. They're there. It's a flow. You're either with it or not. And technically, if you're trying to approach it with this mindset, with the wrong mindset, although you have the technique, you will not be able to survive it, right? Because it's all about dealing with your losses. And losses come from hesitation, right? Sometimes hesitation comes from lack of testing, right? So
Yeah.
if you're driving a car, for example, and you've never tested it, you're going to be hesitant. But if you tested the car well, you're not hesitant. Losses come from hesitation, from the lack of testing. Most people don't test. Plus, the way they deal with their losses or wins, they don't manage them in the right way. For example, some people make a good trade, whether it's in Forex or in stocks, right? They make a good trade. They feel very good about themselves. They have this ego. They start ego trading. They start losing again and again. They go on a losing streak. The cycle, the vicious cycle
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
back on. So it's all about the mindset and the psychology. It's not about Forex or stocks. It's all about how you perceive it, with which technique you're trying to use. And مثل حيالله شيء, like any other industry, you actually need to possess the experience and go through the process. There are no shortcuts. So if you think you can make it in a month or two, like most people, which is absolutely wrong because they marketed the wrong way, you cannot make it, right? You have to go through the process. You have to go through the work. It's a very hard industry to analyze. It's an industry, right? You cannot go
Yeah.
through it in a year, maybe like at least a year you need to start. So most people take it as if it's a quick win, in and out, right? They don't perceive it as if it's a long-term commitment with quarterly returns. And unfortunately, whether it's in stocks or Forex, that's what I'm trying to say. It's personally, it's the same thing for me.
Yeah, I understand that. So let's say I want to get into Forex, or anyone wants to get into Forex and they have zero clue about it. Why would they choose either, let's say they have three options. So it's either joining your community, Financial Primes, either they try to learn it on their own, whether through YouTube, through Google, or through testing, or just trying, and just any other competitor that you may have. So why, if they choose you, why? And if they don't choose you, what can be what they might be missing out on? And why could someone, for example, how can someone avoid mistakes through joining a certain community, or instead of just trying out on their own?
Sure. So basically, what you're trying to say, how can you pick the right mentor? That's what you're trying to say,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, in a way, yeah. No, why would I decide to, okay, I'm gonna go into Forex by either going into a community or by just learning through the internet and trying out on my own?
Sure,
Why would I choose either?
sure. So it all goes back to how would you pick the right mentor for you, whether he's a guy on the internet or a book or a community or so. Uh, well, of course, technically, um, whenever I decided to go through this, basically we have four departments and we have 30 employees. We are operating in 4 or 5 countries. We're operating in Dubai, France, Canada, Cyprus, Iraq. We're operating in Spain. We're
Yeah,
operating in so many countries. And technically, um, trading was something I did as a side, right? So it as my day-to-day task. Whenever I graduated from Harvard, I was really blessed by meeting the best people, right? And I had the privilege to meet people from Goldman Sachs, and I was mentored with these people.
yeah,
And
yeah,
whenever I finished my background, I worked with Societe Generale as well, and I've been mentored through a lot of very, very influential and very strong people within the business. And whenever I decided to open the Primes as a consulting and a research company, I never thought that I would actually open a department where I could actually educate people on trading. Um, I did it for myself, and frankly, at first, I didn't want to even share this with anyone. Uh, but the fact that I decided to do this step, I took a leap of faith and I said I wanted to do something genuine and to actually create a certain community where I can actually influence people's lives. And I found that this is more nurturing than any income you can have. So nurturing people's lives and actually making a difference in
yeah,
their lives, I believe this is much more nurturing, and people will understand this. Whoever experienced influencing someone's life, he will understand what I'm trying to say. But technically, picking the right mentor is not about checking for like going through a catalog and picking the card that you like.
Yeah.
It's about your journey. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm here out of a certain journey. So the journey drove me here. And today I am where I am today, operating around 30 employees on a daily basis, operating with them. And basically, um, the pleasure that I have through going with these students, within the community, we are 120 members so far, 120
Yeah.
worldwide. So the pleasure that I offered these members is equivalent or even higher than the pleasure of operating a 4 or 5 international company, right? So this equivalency shows that if you enjoy what you do, you would go through it without even feeling what you're doing. And technically, with whether someone wants to actually enroll in any community or maybe learn it alone or so, of course I recommend to multiple things. The first thing would be to actually enjoy what you're doing. So if you enjoy learning FX or learning stocks or learning how to trade, if you enjoy being by the charts, reading articles, this is what I say to every member who is willing to enroll with me. I make sure that they enjoy it, because if they don't enjoy it, it's not a business for me, especially while we're trying to keep things on a very low budget for everyone to enroll. um, uh, I want to make sure that people are enjoying what they're doing, because it's a give
Yeah.
and take thing. Personally, I'm giving and I want them to give back. I cannot give and they simply, it's not a course I'm selling online, they can take it or so. No, it's a give and take. So the first thing that you want to have is actually enjoying what you're doing. You have to actually enjoy. So if you enjoy it, the process will get you through it. You will go, you will search, you will read, you will try to search for right mentors. It's whenever you see someone who's mature, it is someone who has been through a lot.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
it's the same thing in anything in life, for that matter. If you want to learn FX or anything, you should go through a lot before getting there. So whether it's with me or anyone else or the internet, you should dig and dig and dig to actually find where you belong, right? It's as if it's chemistry, right? It's either you click or you don't. So I had the privilege to meet the best of the best, but I went through a lot before meeting them. I went through 14, 15 hours of work per day. Whenever I graduated, I entered as an entry level مثل حيلا حدا like anyone else. And I worked 14, 15, 16 hours a day sometimes. And then I had the privilege to even sit with these guys. And I didn't stop there. I was so curious. I started asking them, how can you do this? How can you mitigate risk? What would you do? These guys were managing per day around 200, 300, 400 million dollars per day. I mean, they knew what they're doing, but I was so intrigued by their technique. I was on the roll all the time. So whoever thinks that you can actually pinpoint something like that, you're wrong. It's about maturing with it. Whenever you go through the step, and then you fail, and then you fail, and then you fail, and then whenever you find the right place, you will feel like it. You will go through it, you will click with it. So this is how I would recommend. Start by enjoying what you're doing so that you can actually go through the work, you can actually dig, research, and then whenever you find where you belong, you would click with them.
Yeah.
Of course, it's يعني أكيد I understand you're trying to maybe facilitate this, maybe make a shortcut for people, but there are none, unfortunately. And personally, I prefer someone who's mature and he knows why he's coming within our community. I don't want someone who doesn't know why he's going through the community,
Yeah.
because we keep our community strong because we attract what we transmit. That's, I always say this. You attract what you transmit. If you transmit a positive and a good vibe, and basically, so, people with the same vibe, they will come, right?
Definitely, definitely.
So you should find your vibe. You should find your vibe. You should find your energy. You should find your chemistry. And remember, your mentor, the mentor you're gonna have, of course, he's gonna play a crucial element within your journey. He's gonna influence you in a lot of things, not only FX. Most of my members, I did businesses with them within the company. We have plenty of departments that we could help them. We did businesses. We maintain a long-term relationship, and this is why it's strong, because it's not a transaction that we're trying to do.
Yep,
It's a relationship thing. So how can you build a relationship based on a catalog? You can't. That's what I'm trying
definitely.
to say.
Yeah, it's not like, okay, hello Eli, I'm gonna learn Forex. Okay, pay me, goodbye. It's not like that. It's a whole journey.
Exactly.
So people need
Exactly.
to, as you said,
Exactly.
to understand what they're getting themselves into, and just make sure they're on the same vision as the whole community is. It's not like, it's not a store. It's not a shop where you go see what you want, take it, and
Exactly.
leave. So
Exactly.
with that, I wanted to wrap this episode, but I wanted to to ask you to give advice, but you already gave amazing advice in the last 10 minutes.
Thank you.
So with that, I'm gonna wrap this episode, and thank you so much, Eli, for you giving me the time to clear out the fog
My
around
pleasure.
the forex market, the community in Lebanon, and everything
My
related to
pleasure.
that. Guys, I'm gonna put every social media account related to the primes, whether it's on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever it is, and you can all check it out. Maybe contact them for more information if you're interested in the forex market and every other thing they might offer. Elie, thank you again, and see
Thank
you
you, Ja.
soon.
Thanks a lot for this opportunity. Of course, looking forward. Thank
Definitely.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Ciao.